At first glance, this looks like any other garment factory in China, which makes PPE for the fight against the coronavirus. But this factory has a secret, and here is the clue. As the camera passes down the production line, you can hear a song being played to the workers. It's a well-known piece of propaganda. The lyrics go, "The heart that yearns for the leader day and night." The song is from North Korea. And so it appears, are the workers. In a 3-month investigation, we have found evidence that hundreds of North Korean women working in factories in the Chinese city of Dandong have made PPE for health workers around the world in conditions that may amount to modern slavery. We have tracked this PPE from these factories to the UK, US, Italy, Germany, South Africa, Japan, South Korea, Myanmar, and the Philippines. We spoke to an expert on North Korean workers in China, Professor Remco Brucker, and he told us that workers are held in slave-like conditions.
Most of the earnings North Korean workers abroad are promised, they don't keep themselves. They can't, because it's the state, and then it's also their local managers, often North Koreans who live in that particular place, that takes the lion's share there. From our own research, I'd say anywhere between 70 to sometimes even 100%. So they end up with really very little money. Working there 12 hours seems to be the norm, and those 12 hours can be easily extended and are in practice easily extended into 16, 18, or sometimes even, if a deadline needs to be met, 24 hours of working per day. Holidays barely exist, and if you take a day off, well, it's difficult to take a day off, but if you do because you're ill or because you're really exhausted, this comes out of your own pay.
For years, Dandong, which is a city that sits right on the border with North Korea in the northeast of China, has been using North Korean workers in its garment factories. It's a convenient arrangement. The Chinese factories get cheap, compliant workers, and the North Korean regime gets millions of dollars taken from the workers' wages. Now, when the coronavirus pandemic began, some of these factories shifted production from clothing to PPE, in particular isolation gowns and protective coveralls. The use of North Korean workers in China is in breach of United Nations sanctions, which prohibits the use of North Korean workers overseas. But this does not appear to have stopped some factory owners from cashing in. We're all going to make millions, said one. We analyzed hundreds of social media posts, photos, and videos linked to garment factories in Dandong, and they led us to this factory. Now, if you look closely, you can see signs of North Korean workers. Here on a sewing machine in Korean script, it says "Quality first, then quantity," which is a slogan popularized by Kim Jong-un. And on the wall, you can see a red propaganda banner from North Korea. It says, "The party is calling, let's all become heroes and protagonists of the productive age." We were able to use photos and satellite images to locate this factory on the outskirts of Dandong. Now, this factory supplies a bigger, more established factory in Dandong, and our investigation has found evidence that both these factories use workers from North Korea. Then we spent months analyzing evidence which indicates that hundreds of thousands of protective coveralls from these factories have been exported to the UK for a massive order, which came from the Department of Health and Social Care. We also found that PPE from these factories has been exported to Italy, the US, Japan, and South Africa. The UK government has repeatedly said that it's committed to eradicating modern forms of slavery, but our investigations suggest that the government has a long way to go before it can claim that even its own supply chains are slavery-free.